Hey, what's up, guys? It's the Crypto Ginger here. Just wanted to bring you a quick update on some things happening in the cryptocurrency community. Now, as you can see, guys, it is February 4th, 2018, and we're sitting on a market cap of just over $398 billion. And looking at the charts, guys, we are still seeing a major pullback with all of our coins. Everything's in the red, and nothing really changing in that direction. What was once thought as a pullback about 24 to 48 hours ago was really just more correction and consolidation. I do believe that it's likely we're going to see the momentum of the market cap slow down and the price point drop even further, but that's all due to some more speculation and, of course, different types of information coming out regarding regulations and bans. If you haven't already seen this, this is an article that just recently came out from South China Morning Post. This is basically them stating that China will do away completely with cryptocurrency trading and ICOs by blocking all websites that deal with that kind of trading and ICOs. And this kind of bold move is really going to push a lot of people away from the cryptocurrency community because they won't be able to access that kind of information directly because of this these websites being banned like that. Now, interesting enough, this is actually pushing a lot of China miners out of the country and moving to places such as Canada. Now, Canada has cold climates, and they also offer cheap and inexpensive electricity and power for these mining sites. So it's no wonder that we'll be inviting for companies such as Bitfarms. And looking further in this article here, looks as though Bitmains has also moved their mining organization to Quebec, Canada. It's quite interesting here. And this is a questionnaire and graph talking about crypto miners ask where next after China. And of course, a lot of these evaluations kind of give you an indication as to where potential miners could go, and Turkey being a very interesting place that most people would suggest is a great and cheap and inexpensive way to mine. So be on the lookout for places like these countries here to start accepting more miners, cryptocurrency miners, into their country to offer up their power and their services. But definitely Canada. It's interesting. Canada, in this article, states that even in January alone, they got up to 30 crypto miners that are interested in talking with making some sort of arrangement to move there and move their organization there as a miner. So, be on the lookout for some big things that possibly come out of Canada due to this this kind of movement for the miners. Now, I know that this isn't going to be the thing that really helps drive the market back up, but it can be a good start. As a matter of fact, what I've been seeing passed around lately is this particular chart right here, which is more or less identifying a bubble in any type of market field. And as a matter of fact, this is a very interesting layout, and I've done a video in the past about whether or not Bitcoin was a bubble, and I use this chart or a very similar chart regarding the comparison to what's happening with Bitcoin. And at the time, we were actually in the media attention and enthusiasm range according to this chart. We've since then hit greed, delusion, paradigm, denial, return to normal, the fear, the capitulation marks, and we're just heading straight down. I can show you this here in this chart, guys. I'm going to bounce back and forth for just 1 second here because I want to show you this kind of comparison. So for starters, as you can see here, Bitcoin has this major J curve right here, this huge J curve, and then of course it does this double top right up here at the top here, guys, and then it has a major pullback. So if we go back to this chart, you can see that we had a huge J curve, the enthusiasm, and then going to the greed and the delusion, and then hit the new paradigm, and that was us here. We hit about $20,000 on this mark here. I know I won't be able to get it accurately, but we had just over $20,000 with our top there, And when that happened, we dropped back down, and then we did a double top motion. And again, we're again having a major pullback. Well, if we look at this chart, that pullback is the process of fear starting, which we recognize that happening with a lot of the FUD happening. And now what I'm imagining is the capitulation stage of this chart. Now, does this mean that we're going to drop below the Bitcoin mean and hit that despair mark? I'm not entirely sure. I do know that if that is the case, and we go back to this chart here, it is very likely, guys, if we kind of get in our area around here, we could very likely see Bitcoin hitting what I would imagine. Let's see, let me get the chart here. I would say very likely hit $3,000 to $4,000 range before we start seeing any type of movement in a bullish fashion. And so if that is the case, guys, we still got a ways to go before we're going to see any positive action take place with Bitcoin. Again, this is all speculation, and I am not a financial advisor, nor is this financial advice, but I'm trying to give you a general idea that you could see this capitulation happening with Bitcoin and maintaining that until we get to a point where people feel safe enough to reinvest back into cryptocurrency. Now, interesting enough, guys, I want to bring this up here. This is a comparison chart that you've seen all over the place, and I'm using this because it's the best, one of the best here. This is the NASDAQ, and if you see 1998, 97, 98, this is part of the dot-com bubble. We had a huge parabolic run. We had the J curve. It led up to a double top, and of course, this double top had a huge major pullback, some fear, the capitulation, then it hit its means, and then it drove back up. And of course, it drove back up and then had a major pullback again right around the 2008-2010 mark, and then from then on out, we had a major upsurge with a lot of people investing in the cryptocurrency, or sorry, investing into the the web era. For example, Facebook coming out, Amazon coming out, eBay coming out. All these big companies that dealt with the web, they started coming out and driving the price up for the NASDAQ. Now, I want to point out one thing right here, guys, because this is really, really important. I'm going to use the NASDAQ chart for one more comparison. All right, at the very top of the screen, where this the height of that parabolic movement before we had the bubble burst in the NASDAQ, if you were to take this, and I'm just going to try to leave it there, and I'm going to trace all the way over to the right hand side, look at the bottom of the screen where it says 2010. Well, on the top of the left hand screen where the chart starts hitting the top of the screen, that's probably going to be around 2015, 2016 that you're actually catching back up to when you first made a purchase. So anybody, guys, this is the scary part about this. If you had purchased anything according to this NASDAQ at its peak, at the all-time high, you would not be catching, I mean, this is around 2000, you would not be catching up to that amount for at least 15 years according to the NASDAQ. That is scary, and I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm trying to give you a understanding that if you're one of the people who bought at the all-time high here, and we are going to have if we have a very similar approach to Bitcoin that we did with NASDAQ, I mean, are you going to be expected to wait another 15 years to catch up on your earnings that you did when you bought at all-time highs? I think this is one of the reasons why we're seeing anybody that bought at all-time highs sell off, and that's also one of the reasons why you've seen many articles, or at least I've seen many articles of people talking about how they lost their life savings to Bitcoin because they bought at all-time highs, which is absolutely absurd, but it has happened. And again, this is all speculation. You have to understand anything can happen in the cryptocurrency community, but if we're following a very similar process to, again, this kind of chart, and if history is something that repeats itself like it absolutely has in the past for just about every type of situation, then we could very likely see history repeat itself again. Now, this doesn't mean it's a bad thing. We just are going to have quite some time to wait before we start seeing some sort of positive movement with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. It also means that when we get to this particular area where it says despair on the Bitcoin chart, well, hey, that might be a great buying opportunity for anybody. So start looking for those kind of dips in the near future. Let's see if it goes down. I'm just going to say right now, and this is how I'm going to end the video. If it drops down, that'll be one of the best discount prices you could buy your cryptocurrency at, and it could possibly make anybody a fortune who actually buys in at those particular highs. If you were somebody who bought Bitcoin back here when it was $981, you were still up, and you would still be up even if it hits Bitcoin hits this despair motion or despair mark on that chart. So some positive ways of looking at this, but like I said, always look for the major dip, and then of course that's my suggestion would just look into putting whatever you have into something like that. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, and this is absolutely not financial advice, but when it comes to buying those kind of dips and trying to take advantage of something like what happened with the NASDAQ, you buy this dip right here and ride that sucker all the way up. Well, you could be sitting on a huge amount of money. Anyways, that's all I have for you tonight, guys. I apologize for being long-winded, but thank you for watching. And if you like what you see, hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified of future videos, hit that little notification bell just as well. Outside of that, guys, hope you have a nice day. Like me on my Twitter and follow me there, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.